Connectors in English. Linking words, sometimes also referred as connectors, are words that link or relate two ideas, phrases, sentences, and paragraphs together. If you want to speak at an intermediate or advanced level, it's fundamental to use connectors. Addition connectors.
Además.
Moreover. Example, it was a good car and, moreover, the price was quite reasonable. Example, smoking is a bad habit, moreover, it is a very expensive. Addition connectors.
Además.
Furthermore. Example, I don't know what happened to Roberto, and furthermore, I don't care. Example, the house is beautiful. Furthermore, it's in a great location. Addition connectors.
Además.
In addition. Example, our new director can speak 3 languages. In addition, he has 6 years of experience. We use, in addition to, followed by a noun/pronoun or, ing. Example, in addition to basketball, I'm good at volleyball. Example, Diego can speak English and French in addition to Spanish. Addition connectors.
Además.
Besides. Example, I have paid a lot of money for the car. Besides, I have paid for the insurance. Example, what other types of music do you like besides classical? Attention, don't confuse besides with beside. Beside is a preposition. It means, at the side of, or next to. Example, my mother told me to go and sit beside her. Example, there was a small table beside the bed, on which there was a book. Addition connectors.
Además.
Additionally. Example, additionally, we request a deposit of $200 in advance. Example, additionally, the bus service will run on Sundays, every 2 hours. Addition connectors.
No solo, pero también.
Not only, but also. Example, the car not only is economical but also feels good to drive. Example, the war caused not only destruction and death but also generations of hatred between the two communities. Addition connectors.
En otras palabras.
In other words. Example, he was economical with the truth, in other words, he lied. Addition connectors.
De hecho.
Actually. Example, actually, it's I that owe you a lot. Example, actually, I haven't seen him. Example, I haven't seen him, actually. Addition connectors.
De hecho.
In fact. Example, she is very smart, in fact, she is doing a master's degree. Addition connectors.
De hecho, en realidad, por cierto,
As matter of fact. Example, have you always lived here? As a matter of fact, equals the truth is, I've only lived here for the last 3 years. Contrast connectors.
aunque,
Although. Example, although the sun was shining, it wasn't very warm. Example, although small, the kitchen is well designed. Example, although she loves her job, she decided to quit the job. Contrast connectors.
sin embargo,
However. Example, my friends wanted to go outside. However, it is raining. Example, I really enjoyed that movie. However, I prefer the book. Contrast connectors.
sin embargo,
Nevertheless. Example, he was feeling very ill. Nevertheless, he went to work. Example, scientists claim that aliens exist nevertheless have never been seen till date. Contrast connectors.
por un lado,
On the one hand. Example, on the one hand, if the body doesn't have enough cholesterol, we would not be able to survive. On the other hand, if the body has too much cholesterol, the excess begins to line the arteries. Contrast connectors.
por otro lado,
On the other hand. Example, I'd like to eat out, but on the other hand I should be trying to save money. Example, on the one hand, if the body doesn't have enough cholesterol, we would not be able to survive. On the other hand, if the body has too much cholesterol, the excess begins to line the arteries. Contrast connectors.
mientras que,
Whereas. Example, he must be about 60, whereas his wife looks about 30. Example, she actually enjoys confrontation, whereas I prefer a quiet life. Example, some of the studies show positive results, whereas others do not. Contrast connectors.
a pesar de,
Despite. Example, the game continued despite the rain. Example, despite her illness, she came to work. Example, despite applying for hundreds of jobs, he is still out of work. Contrast connectors.
Al contrario.
On the contrary. Example, I thought John was working, on the contrary he was on vacation. Contrast connectors.
De lo contrario.
Otherwise. Example, you need to change the roof, otherwise, it will collapse. Example, call home, otherwise your parents will start to worry. Example, come in now, otherwise you'll get wet. Connectors of sequence.
En primer lugar.
First, firstly, first of all, in the first place. Example, first of all, I'd like to talk about the benefits of having a pet pig. Connectors of sequence.
En segundo lugar.
Second, secondly, in the second place. Example, secondly, their impressive numeracy skills must be mentioned. Connectors of sequence.
En tercer lugar.
Third, thirdly, in the third place. Example, in the third place, you can always count on your pet pig to perform some tricks for you when you'd like to impress a pretty girl. Connectors of sequence.
Al final.
Finally. Example, she finally emerged from her room at noon. Connectors of sequence.
Seguidamente.
Next, then. Example, take all the books and next, then put them in alphabetical order. Connectors of sequence.
Después. Más tarde.
After, afterwards. Example, after so much work take a relaxing bath. Connectors of sequence.
Por último, pero no menos.
Last, but not least. Example, last but not least, I'd like to thank everyone who helped me on this project. Connectors of exemplification.
Por ejemplo.
For instance. For example. For instance, all schools are concerned with improving and maintaining good attendance. Connectors of exemplification.
Por ejemplo,
For example, women didn't always have the same rights as men. For example, women couldn't vote in Colombia before 1954. Connectors of exemplification.
tal como
Such as. Example, Hispano-American countries such as Colombia speak Spanish. Connectors of exemplification.
como
Like. Example, she is intelligent like her mother. Connectors of exemplification.
aparte de,
Apart from. Example, students were quiet during the principal's speech apart from the new kid in the class. Cause. Affect connectors.
porque
Because. Example, Experisence is a hard teacher because she gives the test first, the lesson afterwards. Example, knowledge is the most precious treasure of all things, because it can never be given away, nor stolen nor consumed. Cause. Affect connectors.
ya que,
Since. Example, since you've asked, I'll tell you what I really think. Example, since the plane's going to be an hour late, let's go and get some coffee. Example, seems that addiction to social media is more common in teens with lower self-esteem, since their online interactions make them feel they are part of a group. Cause. Affect connectors.
debido a,
Due to. Example, I was late for work due to an accident on the freeway. Example, the bus was delayed due to heavy snow. Example, the series was cancelled due to poor ratings. Cause. Affect connectors.
por eso, como consecuencia,
As a result. Example, as a result of the accident, he suffered permanent brain damage. Example, the flight was delayed as a result of fog. Example, he made one big mistake, and, as a result, lost his job. Cause. Affect connectors.
por lo tanto,
Therefore. Example, he studied hard and, therefore, passed the test. Example, I was ill, and therefore could not come. Example, their car was bigger and therefore more comfortable. Cause. Affect connectors.
Esa es la razón de.
This is the reason why. Example, this is the reason why your eyes become blurry after swimming without goggles. Connectors for generalizing.
Mayoritariamente.
Mostly. Example, the band is mostly, equals most of them are, teenagers. Connectors for generalizing.
En general.
In general. Example, in general, we all have a soulmate.
En general.
On the whole. Example, on the whole, I'm happy with the way I look. Example, the weather this month has been good on the whole. Example, we have our bad times but on the whole we're fairly happy. Clarifying connectors.
Es decir.
That is to say. Example, languages are taught by the direct method, that is to say, without using the student's own language. Clarifying connectors.
En otras palabras.
In other words. Example, he was economical with the truth, in other words, he lied. Conclusion connectors.
En resumen.
In short. Example, they have had bad times but in short, they are a happy family. Example, try tennis, badminton in short, anything challenging. Conclusion connectors.
Para resumir.
To sum up. Example, the room seemed to sum up his life. Example, to sum up, for a healthy heart you must take regular exercise and stop smoking. Conclusion connectors.
En resumen.
In brief. Example, so you didn't enjoy the party much. In brief, no. Example, so will the restaurant remain open? Well, in brief, yes, but with some significant modifications. Conclusion connectors.
De ahí.
Hence. Example, she was well prepared for the test, hence her high score. Positive and negative connectors.
Afortunadamente.
Fortunately. Example, fortunately, we have finished. Positive and negative connectors.
Infortunadamente.
Unfortunately. Example, unfortunately everything was a lie. Positive and negative connectors.
Tristemente.
Sadly. Example, sadly I have nothing more to say.